everybody, and welcome to Guardians of the CLE. I'm Paul. I'm the utility co-host with the most. Joining me today are guest co-host who owns the whole thing. That would be Kevin Sleds. Oops, I pointed the wrong way. Papa Kev, thanks for joining me on Guardians of the CLE. What
Thank
are
you
your
for that
thoughts?
awesome introduction.
Hey, it's what a good utility player does. He comes in, he gets you a single, he runs the bases well, and every once in a while he hits a home run. I like to call him, Will Brennan.
I was going to say David Fry.
David Fry's a really good catcher, and I can't catch worth a damn. That's all there is to it. I just can't catch. I'm not going to even lie about that. But
we'll Brennan then. That's fine.
Hey, warning track Will, as we call him here on Guardians of the CLE. But I think that home run a couple nights ago may have changed that a little bit for him.
That was big.
The Guardians look good. Like, we're the second best team in baseball right now. Coming into today, the only team better than us is the team that just beat us, the New York Yankees. Where is your optimism level here? Because for me, it's pretty high. And I love you to Dean as well.
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking before the show, this is kind of uncommon for a Guardians team of the past because they've notoriously gotten off to slow starts, especially with Tito. He's known for that in his managerial career. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air to get off to this hot start like this, 11-5. I didn't expect it. I was hoping to be about 500 right about this time.
Oh, I think, Kev, I think you might have a cheering section, a fan club down there in Dean.
See,
shout out to the boys.
Stalker.
You had to go with the negative here. I'm going positive. I'm about to throw up a pile driver for the boys. Check them out on Sundays at 8 p.m. here on Believe Land Media LLC. But getting back to the Guardians, 11-5, and more importantly, 7-3 in their last 10. Their run differential is plus 35. This is not the Guardians team that I was expecting coming into this season. I was really worried that we were going to struggle because you have a rookie manager who's never done this before with a team that is basically the same team as last year, completely intact, minus two pieces that couldn't get the job done last year and couldn't even get to 500 last year. And instead, you have a Cleveland Guardian resurgence that looks like the 95 and 97 Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, it wasn't expecting this hitting wise. I expected the pitching to carry them and hoping, they'd score enough runs to win a bunch of games. But, I mean, the run differential is off the charts with this team right now. And that's the most shocking thing for me right now, without a doubt.
Here's a little thing that I just noticed as I was scrolling through my stats here. Do you know the only team with a higher run differential in Major League Baseball right now?
No, who is it?
It's the Kansas City Royals.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they're at plus 39. Oh, God, yes. And I think a lot of people are starting to put some respect on Bobby Witt Jr.'s name as well. And I think Kansas City, more so than Detroit, is going to become the team that we have to pay attention to in the standings this season. They're only a half game back of us, and we're the second best team in baseball. So what does it tell you about Kansas City? Let's keep them laser focused. Let's stay on track with them because this is going to be a long season if we let Kansas City and Cleveland be the battle for the American League Central.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's early, but the team that you expected to be up there with, the Guardians, hopefully, was the Minnesota Twins, and here they sit at 6-9, third place. You got the Royals 11-6, the Tigers at 10-7, and then the lowly White Sox at 2-14.
The White Sox are an interesting team because I was just reading something earlier today. They are one of only two teams that has not had a come-from-behind victory this season.
Well, it doesn't help that they're missing their two big sluggers either, and Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez. That's the heart of their order right there. But I mean, even with those two guys, I don't see them being difference makers.
The other team, by the way, being the Miami Marlins, who are just perennially disappointments.
Yes, they are.
And we never forgive 97.
No.
The Twins actually are a question mark because they're sitting at 4.5 games back, 6-9, like you mentioned, but 3-7 in their last 10. We've only played 15 games for Minnesota, 16 for Cleveland. 3-7? What is going wrong with our division rivals in Minnesota here? Because they're not a bad team. They have ultimately the same team they had last season, which was very dominant and ran the table against us and really put a whooping on us at times. What changed? What is different with the 2024 Cleveland Guardians versus the 2023 Cleveland Guardians? Because this is where I'm stuck here. It's the same damn team.
Yeah. Well, they're hitting the ball. Stephen Kwan has bounced back, which I expected him to have a big bounce back year. He, kind of had a down sophomore year last year, but I mean, he's hitting 356, and how many multi-hit games has he had already? And he's shown some pop too. He's got a couple home runs already. Josh Taylor's hitting 340. He's got 4 home runs. Gabriel Arias has been a big surprise. He's a guy that I've been pretty down on. He's been a bit of a disappointment in my opinion. I was all Brian Rocchio at shortstop, but Rocchio's been kind of a disappointment, at least offensively, and Arias, especially in the last couple games, has really stepped up.
And we're on a road trip right now, wrapping up 3 more in Boston tonight after that big thumping yesterday morning on Patriots Day, which, as it turns out, not many people are aware of what Patriots Day is, or the fact that that is a 11 a.m. tradition in Boston. Actually got a message from Jay. He's like, wait, we won today? I thought the game didn't start yet, LOL. And I was like, no, it's Patriots Day, Boston Marathon, it's an annual thing. It's like, it's Guardians Day in Boston. Because that's just who he is.
Yeah.
Boston, I think, is a team to keep an eye on. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're going to run away with the division. The Yankees and the Orioles are proving that they're going to be the toast of the town, not just maybe in the American League East, but in the entirety of Major League Baseball. But Boston's sitting there at 9-8. They're struggling in their last 10, 4-6, but they've got a plus run differential, and they're really good on the road. They're 7-3 currently on the road. Boston's something that I would keep an eye on this season.
And that's funny because they weren't expected to do much this year. If you listen to a lot of the experts making their predictions for the season, so they've been another big surprise in the American League. So it was nice to get that first game with the 4-game series. Hopefully Tanner Bybee can regroup tonight. He's had a couple starts in his last struggled in his last couple starts. And it'd be nice to get this one because you really don't know what you're going to get the next 2 nights with Ben Lively getting the start tomorrow, and then Carlos Carrasco.
No hitter coming. Put it on your FanDuel, lock it in. No hitter.
Heard it here first. Don't yell at Paul when you lose money.
I just want to say, if I do get that right, I'm never coming back. Like, I will be gone forever. Because I will never get anything right ever again if I get that one right.
No,
the gods will be like, you get one, that's it.
Yeah, so let's, I said coming in, I'd be happy with the split the way Boston was playing. So if we can win tonight and, see what happens in the last 2 games, if we could take 3 out of 4, that would be outstanding.
So I was going back to the question that I asked a little bit earlier, though. What is the difference? What is the difference between the 2024 and 2023 Guardians? And there are 2 names that have popped into my head. The first being Miles Straw.
Yeah.
So Miles Straw was a black hole of outs on the 2023 Guardians and technically the 2022 Guardians. He really didn't have much of a bat, but he had great defense, but that defense declined. I think now, by switching that black hole of outs with a new black hole of outs in Austin Hedges, we may have pleased the baseball gods here. Because what is one thing that we always hear people talk about from the locker room? Oh, you got to have that clubhouse guy. Austin Hedges is most definitely that clubhouse guy. And he has helped Tyler Beatty in limited appearances so far this season. Not saying Beaty's going to blow the doors off the place, but he looks better than I think a lot of people expected. The
Right.
question now is what is wrong with Tristan McKenzie? Because this is clearly a problem that needs to be solved. And if he's going to have to go have the surgery, it needs to happen now because we're already, 18 months into this mess where he didn't get the surgery. He got the rehab instead. It didn't fix anything, clearly. His velo is down. His spin rate is not where it needs to be. He looks like an average pitcher. And I'm sorry, but I've seen Tristan McKenzie in his peak. He is ungodly. There are things he can do with a baseball that guys like Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver couldn't do. Where do we go from here? Because if we don't have Shane Bieber, who is out for the season and probably done for his Guardians career with the surgery, and we don't have Tristan McKenzie, we're back in the same boat that we were in last year, which did not end well for us. We may be able to hit, but if you can't pitch come October, you're not going far.
No, and it's very concerning. And his second start against Chicago, he looked better. He was throwing 93, 92, 93 consistently. Couldn't control his curveball, but the velocity was up, which I wanted to see. But then this last start, it was back down in the high 80s. So I mean, it's definitely a concern. And like you said, should he have had the surgery last year when this all came up? Because now, if he has to turn around and have it now, then you're missing him for 10 to 12 months on top of Bieber. And, that this is a guy who you were hoping would step up into that ace role with Bieber being out. And it's not looking good. I know it's early. Guys are still building their arm strength, and it has me very concerned.
So I guess the question becomes, who in Columbus or even Akron can fill the void of Shane Bieber and Tristan McKenzie potentially?
Well, you saw Davian Curry
look fantastic.
Yeah, I think he can be one of those guys that can step up. Other than that, it's Joey Cantillo's on the injured list. He's a guy that could have helped at the major league level. But I mean, looking down at Akron, Doug Nikhazy, another lefty, second-round pick from a few years ago, is off to a very, very good start. So I think allowed only one hit, no runs in his first two starts. He's a guy that could potentially help you this year. Ideally, you'd like to see him get some starts at AAA before he comes up, but I don't want to get to a point where you have to move a Hunter Gaddis back into the rotation because he's just thriving right now in that bullpen. And that Sunday game against the Yankees, I don't know if you saw that 99-mile-per-hour pitch he threw on the outside corner, just dotted the outside corner. Wow. I mean, that's what I've been waiting to see out of him.
He looks confident. And I don't think he felt that confidence in the rotation because, let's be honest here, with a rotation like this, you are expected to get 5 to 6 innings minimum.
Right.
That's 3 times through the lineup. And that third time through the lineup can be a real struggle for young pitchers because once they've got you figured out after that second time through, they're waiting for a specific pitch. And I think that's what happened to Hunter Gaddis. And now he has an inning, maybe 2, and he goes out there and he throws. And he is throwing like his life depends on it. And it kind of does in a lot of ways if you want to stay in the major leagues, especially on a team like this where right now, second best team in baseball, there are high expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, and you look at the bullpen, I mean, it's been huge, especially with some of the struggles in the rotation. Logan Allen has struggled as well. His ERA is over 5. Bibby's over 5. McKenzie's over 6. Carrasco's been surprisingly pretty well. You just ideally want to see more length out of him. But Cade Smith.
So you're thinking Carrasco's going to be okay?
They're going to need him to be okay. So I'm hoping. I mean, he's
you can hope in one hand and you can crap in the other and see which one fills up first, man. I've seen enough of Carrasco to know this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
he's a 7 starter.
Yeah, he is. At this point in his career, he is, unfortunately. And he was supposed to be the placeholder until Gavin Williams came back, which we haven't talked about him. They're expecting him back into April, early May, so that'll be a big boost when he comes back. But like I said, the bullpen's been huge. Cade Smith, 9 innings pitched in his first year in the major leagues, no runs allowed. Hunter Gaddis hasn't allowed a run this season. Tim Herron's been great in that lefty role in place of Sam Henches, who also should be back pretty soon. The bullpen's carried him as far as the pitching staff goes so far this year.
Now, Cade was a draft pick, correct?
Correct.
Now, we've talked many times about how the Guardians don't want to spend money, and I'm not saying throw money at this problem either. But starting pitching-wise, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot left in Columbus or Akron that can get this thing to where it needs to go. Is there anybody on the free agent market that could be a target for the Cleveland Guardians?
You don't want me to say the name, do you?
Wait until I finish drinking this water.
I've heard a lot of people clamoring for Trevor Bauer.
Oh boy.
I don't think they're going to go down that road again.
You've already been down that road. It's like
even
circling the well again.
Allegations aside, just his attitude the first time around and how everything ended. I mean, that's enough for, I think, the organization to say, we're not doing that again.
Circumstantially, I think Trevor Bauer should get another shot in the major leagues. He is a great pitcher, and as we have come to learn, those allegations may have been fabricated.
Yeah.
That said, his attitude towards people is not great, and his personality is very grating. I don't want that anywhere near a team that is red hot and feels like a solidified unit. Like, everybody here feels like they're playing 1 for 9. Everybody's playing for the next guy up. And that's what you want on a team like this, where you could have a couple of down games, but they're always going to bounce back. And that's what you really need out of the Cleveland Guardians 2024 season.
Yeah, I think at some point, there was a lot of talk, if they're in contention at the deadline, go out and get that big bat. Well, now it might be go out and get that big arm, because they may need to add to that rotation if they're in contention around the trade deadline. Nobody's going to make a deal now, obviously. It's too early. So you just got to hope that what they have now can keep them in it until that point.
Crazier things have happened, but it would be pretty unexpected for anybody to make a significant deal right now. You're kind of trying to take stock of what you have.
Right.
One thing we got to take stock of is Bo Naylor. Yes, he had the big home run on Siblings Day with his brother Josh, and that was awesome. But right now he's batting .184 with an on base of 326, slugging .342 with 19 strikeouts. What is going on here with Bo Naylor? Is he just maybe not quite ready yet?
I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he's pressing. He's in his career, he's another guy who's gotten off the slow starts. So I'm willing to give him some more time before you send him back down. But yeah, I mean, at some point here soon, he's going to have to start producing.
Otherwise, Austin Hedges is going to be the everyday catcher. Not that I'm against that. I've been a Hedges fan for several years. He may run with the speed of a 6 out of 100, but my God, can he rally the troops? They still haven't told us what was on Hedges' ass in Texas.
No.
I'm just going to let that sit for a minute.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Estevan Florial. This is starting to work for him. And where does he fit into this team? Because he's not going to be playing the outfield. You've got a pretty solid designated hitter situation set up. Where does he fit into the 2024 Guardians?
Well, if he can get it turned around, with Tyler Freeman's struggles, which has been disappointing to me because I've been a big Tyler Freeman fan, he could end up playing a lot more center field. I know before the season started, Stephen Vogt was talking him up and said he was going to play a lot. And I'm hoping that the Yankee series was kind of a little bit of a breakout for him. I mean, that had to feel good for him doing it against his old teammates and his old team who gave up on him. But hopefully he's one of those late bloomers. I mean, the talent's there. I mean, he was a top prospect. Like I said, hopefully he can be one of those late bloomers, and we can benefit.
Two names that we haven't really mentioned, mostly because of their reliability, perhaps is the best word for this. Andres Jimenez and Jose Ramirez. They're just kind of doing their thing, and they're doing it well.
Yeah, Jimenez is hitting. I know he had a bit of a down year offensively last year as well, but he's hitting 290, and there's no question about his defense. I mean, he's outstanding.
Didn't he win the Platinum Glove last year?
Yes, he did, and I'm sure he'll do it again this year. And Jose's had a little bit of a slow start offensively, but we all know what he can do, and we know he's going to be there when the time comes. But yeah, Jimenez has been a nice a breath of fresh air with his turnaround, because I was a little worried after last year with the struggles that he had offensively, but he's definitely turned it around. Got the walk-off against the Yankees on Sunday. So, yeah, it's good to see.
So we're 16 games into the regular season for our Cleveland Guardians, and we've had a couple washouts, and the doubleheader notwithstanding, I don't remember the Guardians being swept at all this season. That's definitely a promising sign.
Yep.
What so far is your moment of the year for 2024 for us? Like, what is the thing that you're kind of holding on to? Like, that could be the flashpoint where we take off.
I think Sunday's walk-off against the Yankees. I think they were a little down after Saturday's game. Friday game, one of the worst strike three calls I've ever seen on Florial in the ninth inning. Should have been ball four. You had first and second, one out, and a one-run game. Who knows what would have happened at that point? But man, was that terrible!
And it wasn't crap. I'm sorry, I pulled an Angel Hernandez. I missed the call.
I was just about to say it wasn't even Angel Hernandez behind the plate. But the way they came back and fought back Saturday or Sunday a couple different times, being down in extra innings, I think that may have given them a little bit of a spark, against a team like the Yankees. And then, come back with the 6-0 win against Boston and, see if they can carry it tonight and keep it going.
Look, anytime I can make fun of Angel Hernandez, I'm going to do it, because he might literally be the worst person to ever umpire a game of professional baseball.
How does he still have a job?
I don't understand it. Like, I genuinely don't understand it. Hashtag fire Angel Hernandez. Let's get this trending, because let's be honest here. We all have 9-to-5 jobs. We have a job that pays the bills. If you are so terrible at your job that you fail at it 100% of the time, they would have fired you by now and replaced you with somebody. At this point, probably a robot. I don't understand how this guy can just go, well, I'm being discriminated against because of my race and my religion. And we actually believe that. Take into account his quality of work here. This guy sucks.
Yeah.
And also, to the admin of Believeland Media, can we clip that part of this show and use that to advertise the show? Because I think we could do something with that. Hashtag fire Angel Hernandez.
I think at some point it's going to come to a point where a player physically goes after him, because I mean, how much more can you take?
Comes at him with a baseball bat?
Yeah, I don't know. I can see it happening.
I can't condone that.
No, definitely don't condone that. But I mean,
take him out at the legs at the very least. I don't know.
How long are you going to let this go on with this guy? I don't get it.
To be fair, in a fist fight, Angel Hernandez would lose by default because he can't see.
True.
That's just a bit outside as it hits him right in the face. Good Lord.
It's beyond bad.
It's terrible. So we talked about the American League Central. We've talked about the Cleveland Guardians in general. Have you looked at the standings? Have you dove into those a little bit? Because there is an interesting anomaly that has popped up in the American League.
Well, why don't you tell us about it?
So we talked about the Guardians and the Yankees being the top two teams in the league, right?
Yep.
Do you know who would be the 3 seed right now if the postseason started today?
Kansas City.
Technically, yes, but because they wouldn't be able to win the division, they would be a wild card.
True.
They would actually be like the 5th seed. The number 3 seed would go to the Texas Rangers, who are just outside of the top 8. They're
And they're
currently
500.
500, and they're struggling to maintain that. And I don't say that as a joke, because if there's a joke in the American League West right now, it's Houston. I don't know what the hell's going on there. And here's the other thing. As bad as things were for Cleveland last year, just imagine what the Houston Astros fans are going through. They are calling for their ownership's heads because of how bad this start is, 6-12, and Josh Hader can't seem to find the strike zone.
Boy, did the Guardians dodge a bullet with Jose Abreu. Thankfully, he took their offer, not ours, because oh my God, is he bad? I think
He's been terrible.
120, something.
Like, I think the only person on the Houston Astros team that's actually doing anything is Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah, he's a stud.
And Renel Blanco, but that's only because he threw a no-hitter in his, 7th career start?
Yeah. Couldn't happen to a better team.
Tell me you don't hate the Astros without telling me you hate the Astros.
Trash gross.
Meanwhile, in the National League, the Braves are holding it down. In the National League East, they're 2 up on Philadelphia. The Brewers and Pirates virtually deadlocked for the NL Central, which I had the Pirates up there. I wasn't so sure about the Brewers, but they're still contenders. Cardinals just can't seem to get out of their own way, and I think a lot of that might be Ollie Marmol, their manager. And I know they extended him in the offseason. Maybe look and see if you can get some of that erasable ink or something, or I don't know. But that was the worst extension I've ever seen.
Did you see the clip of him shoving the security guard?
Yeah, so that was interesting.
What was that
happened. He was trying to save the guy from falling down the staircase to the clubhouse because he had come from behind him. So he grabbed him so that he didn't fall down the staircase, which is admirable. Unfortunately, that was also at a time when they were checking to see if they were going to check a play. Turns out they should have, because they would have gotten it reversed, but they missed the time clock on it and didn't get to challenge the play.
Oh.
Which is very bizarre, because then Ollie Marmol looked like he was going to kill the guy that he had just saved.
Yeah, he was not happy.
He was less than thrilled, is the best way to put it. The Dodgers, by the way, currently leading the NL West, but maybe they're not as superhuman as we thought they were. 11-8 for the Los Angeles Dodgers with Ohtani, Betts, Freeman.
Yeah, your all-star lineup.
Realistically, the National League's all-star team should be Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman. 100%. But I've watched enough Dodger baseball. MLB Network loves to play the Dodgers at 10 o'clock at night, and that's right about when I get home. So I'm watching Dodger baseball. They're not a cohesive team, at all.
No.
It seems like Ohtani was kind of like this wedge that just popped up and now they can't seem to figure out how to play baseball. Mookie Betts is still one of the best to ever do it. And I'm going to take that to my grave. Same thing with Freddie Freeman, although I wish he were still in Atlanta. I really don't understand how that happened.
Yeah.
Credit to Matt Olson for jumping in there and finding the right landing spot. But man, that made no sense. But the Dodgers are supposed to be what the Yankees are right now, and the Yankees are supposed to be what the Dodgers are right now. And how did we get here is what I'm confused about.
So are you betting on Ohtani to make the All-Star team?
I don't bet on anything involving Ohtani, and I hope he doesn't either.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping this would happen. I was hoping everything would implode because just because of all the money they spent and that kind of the deferred contract with Otani, that it drove me nuts. And that, the Dodgers are a team that spends and spends and spends and spends, but what have they won?
2020 World Series.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
And it wasn't even the guys that are on the team now that won that World Series. If you recall, that was Corey Seager's World Series.
Right.
I'm not discrediting what Corey Seager is doing in Texas, but man, I don't think Texas is going to be able to survive what's going on in that division. I think that division's just kind of lost its way a little bit. I mean, if you look at the fact that Seattle and Houston, who were arguably the two best teams, not named Texas, are the bottom two teams in that division, struggling to just make it to 500. Whereas the artist formerly known as the Oakland Athletics is sitting there at 7-10, and we're calling that an improvement on last season and an improvement on the fact that they're not going to be in Oakland in 2025. And I feel really bad for Oakland A's fans because we've been there. We know what this feels like. We know what it feels like to lose a team that is part of your heart and your soul. And I don't wish this on anybody. Granted, the same Bay Area fans got to enjoy the Golden State Warriors beating the brakes off of the Cleveland Cavaliers 3 out of 4 times in the NBA Finals. I don't harbor a grudge on that because it was the greatest player of this generation, Steph Curry, going off. It is what it is. But to lose every single major sports franchise you have is just frustrating.
Yeah, it's gut wrenching for sure. And like you said, they're going to be known as the Athletics the next 3 years, and playing in Sacramento and pretty much playing in a minor league stadium. It's just a bad situation all the way around.
What bothered me most about it, and I think a lot of people caught this as well, was that the A's owner was talking about when you come to Sacramento, you get to see all these great players play in Sacramento, including Aaron Judge. Unless he's planning a blockbuster trade that nobody knows about, and he's going to trade away the entire Athletics team to the New York Yankees to get that one player, he's talking about a visiting opponent coming in and hitting home runs off of his team in a minor league stadium. What?
That's encouraging.
Like, legitimately, if I am if I'm in Nevada and I'm in the Las Vegas board and I'm looking at the contract on, do we want to sign these guys? Do we want to give them the money that they want for this team to build a stadium on the Strip? I'm saying no. As the Guardians score, by the way, it's 1-0 Guardians against Boston in the top of the second.
There we go.
But like, why would you give a team that doesn't want to spend money?
I have no idea.
And what is the contingency plan here? Because there is no guarantee that they're going to end up in Las Vegas. Are they just going to keep playing in Sacramento?
Apparently, I mean, it's a messed up situation, and I don't know how it's all going to play out. But like you said, you got to feel for the Oakland fans.
Credit to them. They actually, and this goes back to our season opener, I think we all noticed that those stands were relatively empty for the opening game of the season. That was an intentional display. Apparently, over 10,000 people were in the parking lot listening to the game instead of being inside the stadium. It was actually an intentional thing. And there's also discussion that 2 of their players may have been sent down to AAA because they supported the Last Dive Bar and their Sell the Team promotion.
Wow.
Like, this is the same franchise that the book Moneyball was written on. Yeah. That 90% of Major League Baseball now follows that model. And they are falling to pieces here.
Yeah, it's very sad. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
It's disappointing. What's not disappointing is that the Guardians score again, and it's 2-0 Cleveland thanks to Gabe Arias.
Yeah, Will Brennan and Gabe Arias driving in the runs. Your boy Will.
Hey, I liked Will Brennan. I liked Will Brennan before it was cool.
I do too. Super nice guy. Met him at Guards Fest. In fact, his picture with Peyton is now the screensaver on my phone.
Isn't she wearing the helmet still on that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Shout out to Peyton. She just had a birthday not too long ago. What was it? Or last week?
Yep, 19th.
My God.
Birthday. I'm getting old. That's all that means.
It's funny because I've been able to say now that I remember when you were this tall to more people than I can remember actually knowing when they were this tall. So it's,
yeah.
I don't know if I'm going crazy or if it's old age setting in or whatever, but
a little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah. Dementia runs in my family. Let's run with that. Who are you again? Oh, it says here you're the owner of Believe Land Media. Oh, well, that's unfortunate for me. Before we get out of here, and we've been talking a lot of general baseball today because the Guardians are in a good spot right now. It's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than most of us would have predicted. Hell, it's better than I predicted back in this prediction special last month. Major League Baseball lost a legend today. Former Kansas City Royals and St. Louis Cardinals manager Whitey Herzog passed away at the age of 92. Anybody who knows anything about Major League Baseball knows about Whitey Ball and knows that it led to the Cardinals winning the World Series in 1987. You're old enough to know what I'm talking about here, Kev. And I say that with respect and honor. Have we seen Whitey Ball permeate Major League Baseball?
I think so. And, it's definitely a good thing. I hope I live to see 92. Great career.
I just hope I see tomorrow at this point.
Right. Yeah, he's definitely a legend. R.I.P. Whitey Herzog, and condolences to his family. But yeah, I think that we have. What are your thoughts?
The thing that I think is funny about all this is that Herzog was a very good manager for the Kansas City Royals, and he just ran into a buzzsaw that was the New York Yankees in the 70s, and it just kind of tore him apart and led to him being sent down I-70 to St. Louis, where he basically took over the team, became their general manager, traded away one of their most popular players, found a way to somehow get Ozzie Smith, who I consider to be the greatest shortstop to ever play the game, and put together a very impressive overall team before then going into the dugout and managing that team to a championship. It's the kind of stuff that you write stories about because it can't be real anymore. I mean, we don't let the manager be the general manager. That's not a thing. We can't trust them with that much power. That's absolute power corrupts absolutely, as I've been told. But it's a great story, and it's a great inspirational play. Like, he played the game, and while he wasn't the greatest, he was still very good. And then he took those skills and learned how to compartmentalize and become arguably one of the greatest managers in the history of the game. And he will be sorely missed. I know I'm not supposed to say anything positive about the Yankees. I have a segment on my show, Double Play CLE, that may or may not be suitable for this particular program, so I won't mention it directly. But while I may hate the Yankees with every fiber of my being, I do respect great announcers. And their legendary radio announcer, John Sterling, announced that he is retiring effective immediately, which is very strange.
Yeah.
This man is synonymous with New York baseball. Like, he is the reason that we have some of the colloquialisms that we have. It is high, it is far, it is gone, is quintessential Sterling. He's also the reason why we say all rise, here comes the judge for Aaron Judge, and numerous moments across Derek Jeter, Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte, David Wells, and so many other careers across Major League Baseball that have been hugely impactful on the game as it is played today. Your thoughts on the retirement of John Sterling, and maybe it was just simply because they were heading to Toronto and he didn't have his passport?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of odd that it was effective immediately. I could have seen, at the end of the season, but definitely one of the best to ever do it, what he does, and he'll be missed for sure, especially in the New York area. But yeah, great career, and too bad he couldn't finish out the year. But yeah, like you said, maybe he doesn't have his visa.
Just to flip this around a little bit, because Sterling is a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, unlike Tom Hamilton, who absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. I cannot stress that enough. This is a man who is so crisp and on point with his calls. And this is actually a discussion that I have in my group chat with Jay a lot, believe it or not. He hates the fact, and I mean hates the fact, that Hanny will give a call that's positive to the opposition. He's like, oh, well, I don't want to hear good things about the opponents. And that's not the way baseball is called. Baseball is an exciting game, and exciting moments happen. I will always say that this is the hardest sport to play, because you can't possibly understand until you've tried it how difficult it is to throw a ball exactly where you want it to go, number one. Then, on the flip side, to hit it with a stick as it's coming at you, and then to flip it again to try to catch it with a small glove as it's coming at you or over your head. Like, there's nothing about baseball that is easy. There's a reason why we consider people successful if they fail 7 out of 10 times at the plate. It's just a difficult game. So I've always been of the belief that I don't want a homerish announcer like the White Sox had for the longest time until they got Jason Benetti.
Oh, yeah.
And then they lost him to Detroit. Kudos to Detroit for picking him up. He is fantastic. But I want to just enjoy the game, and that's kind of the most important thing to me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I know I have a couple people that are the same way. They get irritated by him getting excited for, opposing home runs or, plays by the opposing team. But like you said, that's part of the game, and that's how you call a baseball game, and he does it perfectly.
And we need to get him into the Hall of Fame.
100%.
So when that comes up and everybody starts nominating, get out your pen and paper or phone. I think you can tweet it on X. I don't know. I don't use that thing very much. Is that what that username thing is down here? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what that is.
I don't use the thing very much. I picked up 3 followers last night, and I'm like, what the hell? What did you see?
Were they porn bots?
Wait a minute. Is he supposed to be joining in? Should I bring him in?
Bring him in. Why not?
Let's see. Ambush!
We have another special guest.
Good evening.
Derek, welcome in. How's it going? Would you like to comment on any of the stuff that we've been talking about for the last 45 minutes here on Guardians of the CLE Live Special Edition? I'm the host off the bench, Paul. That's our Chief Executive Officer, Kevin. And down below us is the greatest person to cover baseball in the history of Believe Land Media, Derek.
Wow. Thank
Yeah,
you, Paul,
I'm good at that part. I'm not
intro.
good at anything else. I'm good at intro.
He's just back from covering a softball game too.
Tell us about that.
Yes, it was a nail biter. It was 25-1.
Sir, I think we're going to have to get you
That's
a
about all there is
dictionary
to
and
say
a
about that.
thesaurus, because that is not a nail biter. That is... So, what was the score after the first inning?
Well, it was so long ago, I forget. But
Oh, that's not
Yeah,
good.
right.
There's that many
Good
runs
to-
scored. Shout out to
But
the Marlington
it's good to
Youth
see-
softball. They're legit.
yes, Yes, very legit. They made a deep run last year, and they look poised to make another deep run this year. So that'll be exciting to follow. But yeah, Tanner Bybee, Hammy said it after the first inning that this is only his fourth or fifth start, but probably his best inning in the first, a 10-pitch inning, and sounds like the offense is doing good today. Brennan had a double down the right field line, and Bo Naylor smacked one. Yeah, it seems like maybe going to Boston might kind of be something that catapults the offense into, being more than what they were last year, and something we've all kind of wanted for the past couple of seasons, to see an offense that goes out there night in and night out that can perform and not rely on your starting pitcher going 6 or 7 innings, only giving up 1 run, because that's not feasible over the course of 162.
It's not feasible in Major League Baseball in general in one game anymore, it seems. Everybody's just slugging for the fences.
Right.
But it sounds like you're saying that our offense was essentially shipping up to Boston. Oh, that one fell dead. I'm so disappointed.
There we go.
I really had that one too. I was excited. The next Matt Vasgersian over here trying to throw out ridiculous crap that nobody will get. Oh, as one gets through for a base hit. So what is your, Derek, what is your moment that you would consider the flashpoint of the season so far for the Guardians? What is your maybe favorite moment of the season?
Trying to rack my brain real quick. I think coming back and taking, I'm here.
Right.
I think coming back and getting 1 from New York. I know that's not much in the grand scheme, but just not to bend over and take it from New York like sometimes we do, and not getting discouraged when Class A blew the save on Sunday, coming back in extra innings and doing enough to get the win. Yeah, it's a sac fly to win it, but getting the hits leading up to that sac fly to score and take 1 from the Yankees. And so far it's portrayed as they made that quick trip to Boston and ruined Patriots Day for all of our Beantown Believeland media followers. But yeah, it's the year is young, so the best moment's still ahead of us, I think. So
and they disappointed all those front-running Northeast Ohio Yankees fans that were at the stadium Sunday making all that noise.
There were a lot of Yankees supporters at the stadium, and
there were.
Yes. Yes.
Yankees fans travel well because they don't have to travel.
Lakers
They're
fans.
just kind of like they're like a mutated virus that's just amongst us. If there's one thing I cannot stand, it's an interlocked N and Y. By the way, you said
yes.
I'm trying to make sure. You said we were going to take it, bend over and take it, is what you're saying from New York? Are we allowed to say that on this show? I don't know if we're allowed to say that. This is a PG show. Am I allowed to finish that story? I don't understand. I'm more confused than anything. I don't know where the limit is here. I got to find the limit. Let's step over it. So we have 2 more in Boston after tonight.
It's like the line in Mean Girls.
That's so fetch.
The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
My God. 2 more in Boston before heading home for a big 6-game homestand against the Athletics and the Red Sox. Expectations for that homestand, 6 games.
Well, the way they're playing right now, I'm going to go high. I'm going to go 4-2.
Whoa. All right. That's a sweep of the Athletics, and then one with Boston.
I'll give the A's a win. We'll go 2 out of 3 in both series.
Oh man, have you ever read the story? If you give a mouse a cookie, you can't give the A's a cookie here. You can't. They'll ask for milk, and we can't do that. I am lactose intolerant. Derek, your prediction for this?
Well, it's a good thing that we're in 2024 and there's so many alternatives to traditional milk.
I'm not drinking almond milk.
Oh, that stuff's awful.
If I wanted to drink the milk of an almond, I would go squeeze an almond for 25 minutes until it burst. Am I allowed to say that?
Shit's getting deep.
Yes, it is.
I'll say 5-1. I'll say 5-1.
Oh,
whether it's
wow,
Oakland that
right.
gets that victory or Boston, I'll leave that to the imagination of the listeners. But 5-1 homestand, and then we'll really get rolling as we inch closer to May and the weather warms up and the bats warm up, and yeah.
No, you ain't kidding, because after that we head to Atlanta for 3.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not going to get easy from there. Then we head to Houston, so we'll be fine there.
Yeah.
Just walk Yordan Alvarez, give him 4, and move on about the day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unless Ronel Blanco decides to throw another no-hitter. Did you guys happen to get a chance to watch that, by the way?
No, I saw the highlights, but I did not see it live.
Looked very good from the opening all the way through. He just looked like he was constantly in command, and I've not seen that out of too many pitchers in general. But you always kind of see those moments of this is the year, this is the game where they're going to get that big moment, that kind of stuff. And he had those moments, and he looked really sharp. I'm not saying that Ronel Blanco is going to win the Cy Young. Don't send any hate mail to Believe Land Media or my social media. But if Houston is struggling, he seems to be one of the people that they can rely on, at least for now. Oh,
Well,
and the Guardians are already answering with a base hit by Quan, and he's out at first. Oh, Quan, what are you doing there, man? This has turned into the Guardians of the CLE Guardcast that James always predicted we'd come up with. So we've seen, and we're about to wrap things up here because we're about 7 minutes left or so. We've seen some of the City Connect jerseys that are being announced. The Mets has leaked. We've seen Philadelphia's, and Detroit is next after that. Then it'll be Cleveland. 2-part question. First part being, what did you think of Philadelphia's jersey? Second part of that question, what do you expect out of the Cleveland jersey?
Well, I'm looking up the Philadelphia jersey because I didn't see it. So, Derek,
You
if you
can't
see
miss it. It's ugly.
I like the hats for Philadelphia.
I
The
like the
jerseys
hat. The
not
hat is
so
awesome.
much, but the hats do look very nice with the Liberty Bell. The numbers are god awful. I know they went with trying to like, mimic the Declaration of Independence, but yeah, Trey Turner's looks like. I mean, that's the worst 7 I've ever seen in.
That was fantastic. That
number 7.
That was fantastic that we got live reaction to that.
Yeah, ours cannot be any worse than theirs. Those are terrible.
So I get the feeling they're going to have the script Cleveland across the front. And I think they're going to be a throwback to maybe a hodgepodge. I think they're going to throw different eras together and maybe do like 90s Cleveland across the front. Do maybe the wishbone C on the sleeve. Maybe do like the racing stripe. I could see a lot of different eras coming together for this jersey. I think it's going to be hideous.
You think so?
I think it's going to be hideous. Because Nike hasn't gotten anything right in baseball so far this season. Did you see the Detroit Tigers player who split his pants down the seam when he slid into home? And I'm not talking like, oh, here's a nice little cut. It was like half of his body was exposed.
It was down the outside of his leg, right?
Yeah, it looked like it just sliced through. Yes. It was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw Harper wore...
Oh, Quan was safe, by the way.
Thank goodness for review.
Yeah.
Fixing umpire errors since, 2018?
And robot umps to come. I'm not praying for robot umps, but I will pray for this, and it happens.
I can see it happening.
It's necessary now. The umps are just getting things so blatantly wrong, and it's just not working. I'm not a huge fan of the robot ump situation, but the hybrid style where the ump calls and then the team gets a challenge, gets 3 challenges per game, and you can just kind of tap your hat and go, hey, I'm challenging. That I'm okay with. I don't want to take the human aspect of the game out. But at the same time, we got to get it closer to right than wrong.
Yeah. Agree, 100%. And we need to get rid of Angel Hernandez.
Can you imagine he'll be 3 deep, 3 pitches deep. He'll have 3 challenges. Are you sure about that one? Sure about that one? Sure about that one? You'll be standing in the batter's box just giving yourself a concussion, trying to hit yourself in the head. Challenge. All right. So, looks like we've got a fly ball to the left. That's going to be an out. And unfortunately, the Guardians don't look like they're going to get too much out of this. Quan did move up to second. We talked about this at the beginning of the show, but Quan has been such a vital part of this. I don't want to call it a resurgence, but it kind of is.
Yeah, he's everything you want in a leadoff hitter right now.
Yeah, in the first inning, it was a deep fly ball, and maybe if the weather was a little warmer, maybe that sneaks out. But yeah, it's great to see him driving the ball. That's something that was kind of missing last year at parts of the season, just not driving through the ball. And he's been a gap hitter, and the doubles will come, and he'll get a hold of one here and there and put it into the seats. But yeah, Quan has definitely been the best outfield prospect probably since, I'm probably forgetting someone, so don't yell at me, but probably since
we haven't had many of them.
Came. Yeah, I would say probably since Brantley, unless I'm mistaken, forgetting someone.
I will give you Brantley, but I was also thinking like a Grady Sizemore.
Right, definitely, yeah.
How weird was it seeing Grady Sizemore in a White Sox uniform?
That was massively odd.
It was very.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy he's still in the game, and I'm happy that he's contributing to a team. But man, that was weird.
Very weird.
I missed it. Darn.
I'm sure you can find a picture of him. I'm almost certain it's in the media guide at this point. It's just it's like Omar Vizquel in a Detroit Tigers jersey. It's just weird.
Right.
Which is a thing that really happened.
Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah.
No, I'm perfectly fine with that. That gave me one of the greatest moments of my life.
Yeah. Oscar Gonzalez's life as well.
I think he had one like 3 days later, didn't he? I think the deeper you go into the series, I think ALDS will supersede wildcard for him.
He may have.
Yeah.
For me, it won't because I wasn't at the ALDS. I was at the wildcard. Guards up 2-0 heading into the bottom of the third. So with that, we will bid you adieu because we're going to go watch the rest of this game and do what we do best, which is yell at the TV and talk about sports like we know what we're talking about because we're men. And also the women, too, because we don't want to discriminate. sure Peyton yells at the TV as well.
Yes.
Yes.
How would you know that?
It's
It's his daughter. How would you know that? That just got creepy in a hurry. Good night, everybody. I'm Paul. Derek jumped in. Kevin owns the place. I keep pushing to the wrong side here. Good God. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And shout out to James and Mel, the actual hosts of this show, who at some point will take back the reins and go, what the hell did you do to our show? I'm almost certain of that. Good night, everybody. Go Guardians.
Go Guardians.